Namaste, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah, sure.
Yes, sir. Sir, we'll start the session in next 5 minutes, sir.
Okay. I am ready.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
બધાનું આ નોટિસ આયા રાખશે કોહોસ્ટ કર્યા છે ને આટલા લોકો આયા થયું ત્યાં આ બધું ચાલ્યા રાખશે.
આનું નામ શું છે? હિરાનસિંહ.
હિરાનશી બેન
ઘરનો મોટો ફેસ થતો હતો.
એટલે નોટિફિકેશન ચાલ્યા રાખે છે મીટિંગમાં કોહોસ્ટ તરીકે એડ કરે છે ને એટલે આ સ્ક્રીન પર આયા રાખશે ઘડીએ ઘડીએ. એનાથી વધારે નથી થતું. તમકો થઈને આગળ લઈ લો. યુ ઓડિબલ નાઉ. This will keep on running. બધા જોડાઈ જશે પછી
Moisavi Kumar D. Shah entered the waiting room. Reena Singh, AMC College.
yes. પૂજાભાઈ વાઈફાઈ બંધ કરી દેજો. 2 મિનિટમાં સ્ટાર્ટ કરજો એટલે પછી ફેસ્ટિવલ જોર મારતા એટલે ઓકે. બધું ચાલુ તેમાં જવાનું હતું. અરે એમાં નથી જોવાનું ખાલી યુટ્યુબ પર જ થશે થોડી વાર પછી થશે.
આટલી વખત ચાલુ કરી છે.
આથી રેકોર્ડિંગ ચાલુ કરીને રાખો તો ભરાઈ જશે ફોન.
Yeah.
એ લાઈવ નથી રેકોર્ડિંગ જ છે. લાઈવ જવું હોય તો જવાય પણ એ પછી સેમ વાઈફાઈ યુઝ કરશે જેના પરથી આ આવી રહ્યું છે તો
Okay.
Sir, with your kind permission, can we start? People will join.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, I am ready.
Over to you, Avneet.
Thank you.
Good evening, sir.
Good
Evening
evening.
to everyone present here. I, Avneet Kaur, delegate of Sambhav Initiative and moderator of this event. On behalf of organizing committee, I would extend a warm welcome to our esteemed dignitary Rajendra Surya Prasad Trivedi, sir, and to all the participants in this sixth day of 15 days online national capacity building program on land, real estate, and property laws, jointly organized by Sambhav Initiative, and which is working towards alternative dispute resolution, free legal aid, mental health, and creating legal literacy. Organize this program under the direction and guidance of Patron in Chief of Sambhav Initiative, Honorable Mr. Justice C.K. Thakkar, sir, former Judge of Supreme Court of India, and Patron of Sambhav Initiative, Honorable Mr. Justice M.R. Shah, sir, former Judge of Supreme Court of India, and Pro Bono India, which is working towards legal literacy and legal aid. Where today's session is all about role of revenue authorities and land department. Before we start the session, please adhere to some webinar etiquettes. I request all the attendees to keep their microphones muted during the session. If you have any questions, please use the chat box or raise your hands. It is my privilege to introduce our esteemed dignitary, Rajendra Surya Prasad Trivedi, sir. Sir is a distinguished political and legal figure, the former Speaker of 14th Gujarat Legislative Assembly and ex-Cabinet Minister of Revenue, Law and Justice, Disaster Management and Legislative and Parliamentary Affairs. Sir holds a BSc Honours and an LLB and is an advocate at Gujarat High Court. His political journey began at the grassroots level, serving as municipal councillor in Vadodara Municipal Corporation from 1995 to 2000 and again from 2006 to 2010. Sir also held the position of chairman of the Primary Education Board of Vadodara Municipal Corporation from 2001 to 2005. In the legal domain, Sir played a significant role as a vice chairman in 2002 and later as chairman in 2007 of Bar Council of Gujarat and was an elected member of the Bar Council for multiple terms between 2000 and 2017. Sir's involvement in academia includes serving as syndicate member from 2003 to 2006 and a Senate member for 3 terms, totaling 15 years at Maharaja Sayaji Rao University of Baroda. Sir also served as the president of GCEL Employees Union, a state government enterprise. Elected as a member of Legislative Assembly MLA from Raupura Assembly constituency in Vadodara in 2012 and re-elected in 2017. Sir has held several ministerial roles. These include Minister of State for Sports, Youth and Cultural Activities, Independent Charge, and Yatradham 2016 to 2017, and later Minister for Revenue, Disaster Management and Law from 2021 to 2023. Sir served as the Honorable Speaker of Gujarat Legislative Assembly from 2018 to 2021. We are deeply honored to have you with us today, sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to congratulate this Sambhav initiative. Sambhav means possible. So this is a possible initiative has become in reality possible. Uh, as patron is former Justice C.K. Thakkar Saab and all other dignitaries have consented to join in for a 15 days program. I'm really happy to hear before you. I all the persons, all the students, or all the dignitaries who have joined this uh, program, I'm really thankful to them also. Uh, revenue, as I have been told and I have been asked to role of revenue authorities. Authorities means the concerned officers who have been given this task regarding revenue matters. They have to be very humble, first of all. Their approach must be public centric and not egocentric. As a lawyer, I practiced for 46 years standing. I have an experience that if the ministers are learned one or highly educated or they have approach in the public largely, then they succeed in deciding the matters. Because in Gujarati, there is one proverb, collector kakarat kare, મામલતદાર મૂંઝાય, and circle bicharo શું કરે, તરાટી ધારે તે થાય. So this proverb was said by somebody when I actually went to inspect some offices of revenue. The lowest officer, who is known as Talati, or in Gujarat, in Hindi they are known as Patwari. If he makes any mistake deliberately or knowingly, if he commits some sin, he marks something in revenue record which goes into the root and which can create chaos. So the prime function of Talati is very, very important, maybe a lowest officer in revenue department, but he is much more concerned. मुझे एक बात इस बताना बहुत जरूरी समझता हूं कि एंडरसन ने 1931 में एक किताब लिखी जिसका मैन्युअल ऑफ रेवेन्यू अकाउंट्स एंड ही फॉर्म्ड फॉर्म नंबर 1 which is highly important. Unfortunately, if we inspect this and what we would find that namuna number 1, that is form number 1, is normally now nobody is keeping it updated because it has to be revised at every 10 years. But I think, but that is most important document in revenue, and mostly even the authority and sometimes people also, because they don't know the importance of form number 1. So this is for just for the purpose of information to all those who are concerned with that revenue authority can decide a matter using form number 1. Sometimes it is so important. Now, the second thing, the approach of revenue officer. It is also known to the people and they talk in a louder voice that the officers, when they decide what to do, they do it. But if minister wants to decide, he cannot, or he has he has to face so many trouble. Ultimately, he can get it done, something which he decides. But it is difficult without the help of the officer, which I have learned from these many years. So all officers, revenue or maybe any public officers, those who are working in administration, they must have a very soft corner for public because they are the servant of the public. And I have heard saying so many known people saying that one word which is publicly used by normal person for authorities is sahib. That sahib is very, that once you say somebody sahib, that indicates that he is a smaller person and that sahib is a bigger person. But that should not be so. And officer must remain on ground level. He must understand the difficulties of the poor people and uneducated people. And difficulty when arises that any problem reaches up to the collector or subdivisional magistrate or pran, then they don't take pain to understand the difficulty of a poor person who has come to them, a illiterate person who has come to them. So I would always ask or request rather, any officer of the department must have a big heart to understand the difficulty of a people. Otherwise, no law can success. No law can succeed without the help of those officers, those who are painstaking, hardworking, and there are so many other officers also. There are in department we have 4 layer also. Talati is there, then above him Mamlatdar is there, Prant is there, collector is there, subdivisional divisional magistrate. They are there, and over and above SSRD and so many other tribunals are also there to challenge that order. But in challenging the order and deciding the cases, the difficulty of a person prolonged to the extent of 10 years, 15 years, and ultimately they are required to go to the High Court for getting justice. And what has happened nowadays, the officers are passing a bug upon another officer, and thereby it is prolonged. And so many times High Courts at different level, different state of high courts have condemned the attitude of not only revenue officers and some other officers also. Because once, for no reason, some adverse remark is made, an order is passed relying upon adverse remark, to the extent of rejecting the application of the poor person, he has to go to the High Court ultimately. And High Court passes the order that grant him the relief which he has demanded in favor of that person. Still, however, the authority will not do it, and they will ask legal department to have some advice over it, that whether they should go to the bench, double two judges before that, to review the order, or so many methods are applied. That should not be done. I would be very frankly admit that number of times I have asked the all such officers to take the decision yes or no. They should not linger the decision. They should not, because ultimately, who is the sufferer? Our citizen is suffering, and our country is of a poor persons, illiterate persons. Farmers are there. There are so many persons, those have difficulties, and they, when approaches the authority should be always humble. Even the elected persons, those who are there, maybe a minister, maybe elected MLA or MP, they must also take concern of it, and they should help those persons, those who are in difficulty. In revenue department, uh, recently something has happened, that the collector has been uh, condemned by High Court. The collector who was transferred, another collector came. He also, relying upon some discussion, I don't know, with previous collector, did not pass the order which High Court wanted, or where it was given a promise to pass a relief. Still, they did not do it, and ultimately High Court came heavily upon them. This should not happen. This cannot be tolerated also, and government should be at vigilant uh, to see that their officers must be with due diligence. They must make such an order which can easily be passed. Sometime some problem comes to the collector level. Ultimately, what they do is they don't pass any order over it. They ask advice of a government and they send it to the government. Now, IAS officer grade of a collector, we hope that they know the law, they can appreciate the law, they can, and there are sometimes two parties for presenting an application, and other side also resisting it. But that can be decided by these officers. They are very learned, and therefore they have become collector. They have passed GPSC and UPSC. So they should not seek rather uh, advice from the government. They should make an opinion, and then they can definitely send it to the government that am I right or not. But asking advice from the government, it prolongs the material, and government is ultimately uh, so many matters are there to be decided in the interest of public of a different departments, and we are increasing the botheration of a government. That should not happen. And therefore, the which all ministers should do is that any complaint, any matter which comes to him on Monday, because we have 3 days working as a minister in our office, the Monday, Tuesday, and a Wednesday. Wednesday there is a cabinet meeting, so you get only half a day to for deciding matters, or for giving some relief to the applicant. So on Monday, when any question, any problem comes to you, then minister should keep it next Monday for final decision, and call all the concerned officers. They are to be informed immediately on the same day so that they can be prepared that what is right and wrong and why it should be done or why it should not be done. So every Monday, all complaints which you find some substance in it. So if suppose um, some 200 person has come on that day, at least you find 70 applications which are to be decided on the day, on second first day of a week. So I used to do it, and with utter surprise, the officers, when they are called upon to finalize it on next Monday, most of the applications are either decided yes or no. So people are not required to wait for years together. And mostly I have seen, and we used to request even officers also, that you should have a your tendency should be pro public. Something can be done. It's not that it is not impossible. It is somehow, it is possible. So, so many problems of such persons, those who comes to the legislative wing and ultimately administrative wing, they can decide so many matters. I would like to quote one example, and it had happened. I'll not quote the name, but it happened. Something appeared in newspaper heavily that the all lawyers have gone against the collector, and the newspaper printed it in a full page also, that this collector has decided any application. uh, the order was, it was filed. So nearly 400 applications which were given, produced, which were uh, preferred before the collector for non-agriculture, creating that land so that government gets revenue. This is the important department which collect revenue for the state, and all state will become healthy in as far as revenue is concerned. This department is very, very important for it. So four applications means thousands of lakhs of rupees the government loses. And after 3 years, suppose, as a minister, when this appeared in newspaper, I called for that what is actually happened. Now here the things comes that minister has to take personal interest to find out what is the truth. I found out that yes, correct, 400 applications were filed. It was not decided. When the collector was called upon, the collector was honest enough to admit it was uh, there was a problem. Uh, some problem was there, and therefore he could not decide those applications, and he has filed it. I said, okay, you now decide it. He said, okay, I'll call for fresh applications. Here the minister work comes. Minister has to understand, and he has to make the understand to the collector also, that see, no fresh application is required. Otherwise, you call for 400 applications fresh, it will take 1 year, and that 1 year will be over after minister term is over. So there is no, it is not a solution. So ultimately, I said, see, we know that it is not rejected, it is filed. So take it on record suo moto and decide the applications, and the applications which are rejected, with reasoning, you send it to the minister. And ultimately, I found that very honestly, the collector worked ultimately very fast within a week. And out of 400, nearly 375 applications which were filed by his order, they were taken suo moto, and 375 applications were granted. Ultimately, it was in favor of an applicant. NA was granted. So these are the problems which are occurring in a revenue department. So ultimately, uh, there should be the minister should be also educated, or at least experienced minister must be there, and therefore you get the result. Now, I would like to share all of you that I was a minister for revenue for only 10 months. And I started raiding without informing to the department. at any district level, collector office or deputy collector office or anywhere where where people are concerned. So in this unexpected visit of a ministers created a help to the people. All authorities decided that why to hear something from the ministerial side or some report is created against him. So they started working nicely, and that happened, and people liked it also. So these are the ways how a person has to take the department into the trust also. It is not only that we used to ask the concerned collector, you must do this. Never. We used to convince him. And if he is not convinced, then we dictate him. Because if we are convinced that the person is right and only for any reason they don't want to help him, that cannot be tolerated. So one has to go to the extreme. And I would admire judiciary also that the at least Gujarat judiciary has started taking actions against officers, revenue officers, and other officers also if they are not working with the uh, harmony of the law. So uh, and therefore, when for in 10 months I decided that I should solve the problems which are lingering from 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, 60 years, 75 years, because the Honorable Prime Minister had announced uh, emphatically that Azadi Ka Amrut Mahotsav, that is 75 years. So I thought that I have an opportunity being a lawyer also, and I know how problem can be solved. So those problems which are pending since long means from number of years, then if they are not solved, then I will feel as a lawyer, I will feel that I'm not successful. And I thank God. I thank my Chief Minister Bhupendra Bhai Patel also. I thank my Prime Minister also that they had instructed that when a minister is working hard, you should also work hard and amicably in favor of a public, you have to take decisions. So I give some examples, and it will be very helpful to the those who are have attended this seminar and who will know about it. That one problem which came pending since last 20 years. Earthquake had come. All India knows about it. That the earthquake in Kutch nahi dekha to kuch nahi dekha. That 20 years before, 21, 2 years before, in 2001, earthquake had come. And in 86 villages, the house had become debris. And the then government immediately to give a shelter to the people because there they cannot stay. More than 18,000 houses were debris. So government had some plain land. So government allotted that particular land. If you have 5,000 square feet land somewhere, which has now you can't stay there because house has been broken there, then same land, because government has maps. So they had allotted lands all to those uh, persons of that particular resident. Unfortunately, for 20 years, those lands were not granted that in city survey a name of that owner, and it was difficult for those persons. They cannot take a loan because bank will not give. Bank will say this land is not in your name, though it is allotted, possession is given, but it is not in your name. So, and if suppose two brothers are there and they want a bifurcation of a house, that was also not possible because land was never there in their name. So, problem pending since last 20 years. I called a meeting for number of times. I convinced all authorities also, and good sense and my honorable chief minister insisted them also that here is a problem of a people. and it is required to be solved. An earthquake which had come in 100 years. So this is exceptional thing. So one officer was reluctant and he said, no, if I sign this, then I might go in jail because this land is not in name of people. It's a government land. So you have to change or amend the revenue law in Vidhan Sabha, in member of legislative assembly. I said to that officer, ultimately he was convinced that the land which ultimately people were belonging, it is in whose possession? He said in our possession, means government possession. How you could take that land without amending the law? The same law, same rule applies here also. And ultimately they were all convinced and all officers signed in it, and they were all given ultimately uh, the, that it belongs to particular persons. Certificates were given to every persons belonging to the land. So such a problem, then ultimately I thought that I must know how many problems pending since last so many years, which affect or which are helpful for not only thousands, lakhs of people. Because 20,000 nearly houses means if in one house 5 persons if we count, then it becomes a problem of a 1 lakh person. So ultimately I tried and I find it out number of cases. One case I found the same type. You must be aware, and if you go to the Google, Ukai Dam, a dam, earthen dam, Gujarat earthen dam was created, first earthen dam created uh, by government. Because of creating dam, the behind land was full of water. So those land and those landowners lost their land. The government was kind enough to give land in further away from that area and a good places. But in 50 years, the tenure of that land was not decided, and the same problem arise that they cannot take land, they cannot sell it, they cannot bifurcate it, they cannot make a division in the family. So this was pending since last 50 years. Can you imagine? Can you imagine a 50 years problem of a revenue is pending like this? And then I took it as a challenge. And my chief minister embossed my view. Yes, this can be solved. And Mr. Trivedi, you must get it solved. Pending since last 50 years. And Adivasi persons, illiterate persons, poor people, and therefore then ultimately that problem was also solved 2.5 months, and in cabinet it was passed. So what I want to convey is this, that if minister takes initiative in any problem pending like this, in one case if I say that the our honorable prime minister Narendra Modi ji has always said that the old laws are required to be changed if they are not helpful in nowadays in a now scenario. So 24 inami lands disputes were pending. 24 types of inami land, and ultimately I took initiative in that also. And 26 district, because of solving that problem, and that tenure was decided, and ultimately 26 district, you can understand, more or less whole Gujarat, you can say, their problem were solved in few days. Same way, I can say that land belongs to municipality, but land cannot be the of a municipality. Land is of a state government. Some fund was allotted to the municipality. People had difficulty of a vegetable market. They had no market in the town. So what they did is that on some land they created houses. Houses means a shop on ground floor and office on first floor. Now some collector came. Now the fund which was used is of a government. Land which was used is of a government. But unfortunately, they may not have an idea that they are required to take the permission of a government that we want to use this land, and permission is required. So no permission was required. So collector passed an order to close down all shops, all offices, and they were locked. So for 20 years they were locked, and it was not solved. Ultimately, in such a matter, even a finance minister and all other ministers are required to. Panchayat minister is also required. So five ministers committee has to be formed by revenue, and ultimately that problem was solved. You will surprise that nearly 20 municipalities had this problem since long. Some has 5 years problem, some 10 years, some 20 years, some more than 20 years also. But that was solved. Such 75 problems we tried to solve in 10 months, and that too 3 days a week. So you can say that the 12 days a month. Uh, so the if minister takes initiative, and at the same time, I am thankful to those revenue officers also. They also tried to see that when minister himself is interested that public work must be done fast, therefore they also cooperated. So from all the side, initiative is required. Um, I'll say some the problems in any state is of creating agricultural land into non-agricultural land, where government has benefited by having revenue. There are some healthy revenue is given to the government also, while changing this tenure, uh, NA, which is popularly known as NA of a land. Farming land is now made non-agriculture. So in that also, so many improvements were required. We could do it uh, during that. Even for women empowerment, previously what was happening, if father wants in his lifetime itself that daughter's name or son's name or son's name is required to be enumerated with the uh, this revenue record, then they were required to pay 5% of jantri amount. That was changed. No jantri amount, fixed amount, 500 rupees or sometimes 1,000 or 5,000 rupees once all. So in lifetime of a person, their ancestors get name in the revenue record as a owner of it. So many problems we decided, and that is the tune of 75 problems affecting lakhs of persons. I talked about that dam, Ukai Dam. There it was 1,50,000 Adivasi farmers family. So multiplied by 5. So more than 7 lakhs people were benefited by passing this resolution in favor of them. So these are the things where we as an elected person must come forward, and we must give deep thinking. And I take proud that I am a lawyer, and that not simply a lawyer. I'm a practicing lawyer since I was 46 years. So in all, uh, we must have an legal approach towards the issues. The issues can be decided fast. I hope so. Um, and I would like to quote certain things uh, that how matters are sometimes one problem pending since 75 years. I tried to find out. Now give me even 75 years pending problem since last 75 years. So when there was a partition and Pakistan was bifurcated from us, Sindhi people, those who migrated from by via Kutch to Gujarat, and they were given shelter at different places. And one of the important places, Sardar Nagar, that is known as Sardar Nagar at Ahmedabad. And at Ahmedabad, it's a very big land where government has given them since last 75 years. So though now we have not asked that land within 30 years. The law of the land is that if somebody is in peaceful possession since long, and that peaceful possession was given by you, and you cannot now ask the land, you cannot make them then now khali karo chalo bhago sab log yahan se. So because a large number of people are uh, has to suffer. So for public good, if you want to do something, then some solution is required to be found out. And we ultimately found out, and we took as a principle that some amount of must be paid by them to the government, and then they become a owner of that land. So that Niti Vishak Nirnay, that decision was taken. Principally, we decided that it should be done like this. Of course, still it is pending and it must be solved now. I hope so with the government. Uh, so ultimately, uh, as far as land department is concerned, revenue department is concerned, department as a whole, they are required to be checked, and so therefore balance will come. Now there is no that check, though there is a four layer, but there is exact check is not there. Surprise visits are not there. So surprise visit will always solve some problems of a people because people are there and they interact with you. If minister comes and those persons who are already there and they are facing problem, धक्के पे धक्का चल रहा है, आ जाओ कल आओ परसों बाद में आओ कब आओ, collector is not available, talati mamlatdar is not available. Yes, this happens, and they have so many work. I agree that this is not the only work, but if some initiative is taken, and therefore what I did, I started first time in Gujarat Mehsul Mela. उसके मेले लगाए मैंने, and I in 10 months what I could do is in four big districts I could मैसूली मेला लगाया. मतलब पेंडिंग जितने केसेस थे they were called for, and mostly everywhere 80% or 70% problems were decided on the very day. And I know one collector of from Dahod district, he said of Gujarat, he said, सर हमारा काम तो आपने पूरा खत्म कर दिया एक दिन में, अब हमको एक दे 2 महीने तक कोई प्रॉब्लम ही नहीं है, पेंडिंग पेंडिंग केस सब खत्म कर दिया आपने. सो दिस विल हैपन. सो we have to equally work very hard and with full understanding and with full grace. And not only that, and sometimes officers are not taking risk only because the legislative person's support is very much required. So legislative authority means ministers. They must always they must be behind them. They must support them in difficulties. So they will also, and the revenue department is a very clumsy department, I would say. Hundreds of problems are there, and if they want to do it, they do it within a day. That I have learned. In my district also, from where I have been elected, I asked the collector that all the pending applications must be decided within a week. The concerned person said, no, sir, please give me 15 days. I said, okay, 15 days. And surprisingly, in 15 days, all matters were decided, rightly or wrongly. And mostly rightly, I hope so, because I studied ultimately. And I had instructed them also that in hurry, if you decide the matters, it should not at least go against the people or they must give justice. And it happened so. So this is how I work and how everybody should work. It is I presume, and I could work nicely only because I am a lawyer, only because I am a practicing lawyer, and I am very thankful to my government who had supported in those days that Mr. Trivedi, go ahead, do it good for the people. And I did it. And I solved this pending problem of so many years that encouraged me also. And I got credit also for that. Thank you very much. And I hope so. I have tried to explain myself that authorities also, department also, how they are working. They would try to not to shoulder the responsibility. They will bug it. But if you are behind it, then if the elected persons are with them, and for justice if they are doing, for no, not for their personal interest, then naturally officer will also help to find out the way. And when there is a will, there is a way. Thank you very much. So kind of you, I think it is a 7:45. If any suggestion or any question. And yes, one more point I would like to enlighten that most of the problem arises for NA applications, non-agricultural applications. For that, in some of the state, if you give an application for declaring the land non-agriculture, collector should not see anything except there is a case pending between them, between the parties. Otherwise, straightway the concerned money is required to be paid to the government, and order will necessarily follow of non-agriculture of the land, so that विकास हो सकता है उसका. उसमें किसी को इंडस्ट्री डालनी है, अब इंडस्ट्री डालने का वो सोचता है आज की तारीख में, and that is ultimately decided after 1 year. Then for 1 year he can't do anything. If he dig also the land, then the notice will come to him that this is not NA land, and therefore, if when you are doing something, some work in it, therefore, why it should not be declared unofficial, and the government should not be vested in the name of government now. So, no problem will be mixed up. So many problems are mixed up this way. So I think this is very important, that once an application comes and there is no stay of any court or any case pending in the court, genuinely, then otherwise what was happening? I must quote one more thing. What was happening? That if some builder has purchased a land, a costly land, and then he has asked for NA, what people used to do, those who wanted illegal money from the builders, the so-called activists, they filed some case in civil court, and they go to the certified copy of that. No order is there, certified copy of it. They produce it before the Talati. Talati will enter in Sadbar that some case is pending, this number case is pending. So any company or financial company who wants to help the promoter of that society by financing it, he will say there is a case, and therefore he will restrain himself. And this way they ask money, 5 लाख दे दो, 10 लाख दे दो. ऐसे लुटेरों को भी पकड़ना चाहिए हमको. और therefore what I did in my time, as soon as I found that yes, people are being harassed like this, so that we passed an instruction in written that no entry should be made in Satbara report. Any case is pending unless there is a specific order of the court to make such entry, and that solved numerous problems. So this way we can help the people. When problems comes, it should be immediately decided. Immediately say yes or say no, but no with heavy heart, yes with open-minded and legally, to help the people in the favor of the people, for the people and by the people. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for this wonderful information and the session. I can see that all of your experience, not only as a minister, but also as an advocate, as we are able to learn from that. Sir, now we open the floor for question answer. Whosoever have any question, they can raise your hand and write your question in the chat box. So there is a one question from the one participant that what is the hierarchy of the revenue authority and what are their duties and power?
Powers, they have all powers. And duty is very simple. They should approach should be pro people. That should be the simplest law. An authority can do so many things in favor of the applicant. So हायरार्की ये मैंने वैसे बताया आपको तलाटी होता है, उसके ऊपर मामलतदार होता है, उसके ऊपर प्रांत होता है, उसके ऊपर कलेक्टर होता है, एडिशनल कलेक्टर कलेक्टर होते हैं, एंड देन एसएसआरडी एंड ऑल दैट ट्रिब्यूनल्स हैं, उसके बाद में हाई कोर्ट तो है ही. And in a number of cases, high courts, people are required to go to the high court. And I think that if revenue officers are very strict and very law abiding, and if they want to give the justice to the people, then no case will go to the high court. And high court will also not burden. And we will never be condemned by the high court. So that will be the achievement if officers, authority are working pure with purity, with transparency. And Honorable Prime Minister, when he then CM, he used to he introduced so many things that therefore corruption should not be there. Should digitalizing everything. And for your information for all the people, that in my time I digitalize all records, and you can get record online and with QR code, so that truthfulness can be checked, because nobody can cheat you producing a bogus uh, uh, report of a land. So this is how the authority hierarchy is there.
Thank you, sir. So there is another question from the same participant. Is the any type of land department?
Pardon?
Is there any types of land department?
Land department,
Yes, sir.
the revenue department. Revenue department is there, and as far as other department is also there, uh, where we call it Jamin Sudharna, that is land reforms. Land reforms is also there. Measure for measurement. There are different departments in revenue. There are a number of departments for different problems, solving a different problem. For measurement also, if there is a dispute between two farmers or the two landowners, then for that also measuring of a land is also a problem, and it can be solved, and it's a different department.
Okay, sir.
Please.
Sir, next question is, if purchase residential flat from the state authority of the Gujarat Rural Housing Corporation for the middle class person, the corporation given the possession of the flat with the due process of law, uh, and the uh, and the person is however and the person paid full consideration amount for the flat also. However, the collector issued the notice to the housing board as there is a breach of violation condition by the corporation, and therefore collector likely forfeit the land in the question. So, in this scenario, sir, what is the remedy available under the law for the compensation or taken the entry in the revenue record?
If corporation is at fault, or if government is at a fault, then both will be liable for compensation to pay the person who has purchased that land or housing, whatever. And they can go to the authority, that is collector and municipal commissioner also, as far as Baroda is concerned, or even collectors. They are DDO also there in villages. So if village land is there, then they can approach DDO. If it is a urban land, then they can approach municipal commissioner, uh, and that problem can be sorted out. And even if we are unsatisfied, then we can approach definitely to the government with the help of elected people, elected MLA also, taking there to the concerned department, and they will be heard. And I think problem will be solved. Ultimately, High Court is also there. It is always there.
Sir, one question from one participant, that can a non-farmer buy land, agricultural land for the purpose of doing agriculture only?
No, uh, they cannot buy in Gujarat. In other states, somewhere possibilities are there. But here in Gujarat, we are very strict to protect the interest of farmers. Only farmer can purchase a land. Uh, of course, there is an exception. All when there is a rule, there is an exception. And I hope that if somebody wants to purchase a land for the purpose of industry, and that land is agricultural land, they can seek permission through collector, through the government, and government has all right to pass an order uh, wasting that land, agricultural land, to the purchaser who is not an agricultural. And nowadays it is probably, I think, this new amendment is done.
Sir, there is a last question from the chat box. That sir, your any suggestion for not holding conversation of non-agriculture is good, but it also has a drawback to erase the laws of agricultural land without proper scrutiny. Any suggestion on this,
No,
sir?
no, uh, I mean, scrutiny is always required in land, but uh, for NA, I think, what I have understood.
Yes.
Please repeat the question.
Sir, it's written that your suggestion of not holding conversation of non-agricultural land is good, but it has also the drawback of erase the laws of agricultural land without proper scrutiny.
No, 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 no. See, in Karnataka and some other Tamil Nadu, I think, in these two places, uh, if you ask for non-agriculture of a land and there is no order or dispute, legal dispute pending in court, then the only because you have a possession, the land is in your name. That is a very simple thing to, because ultimately what you are getting a revenue, government is getting immediate revenue, and man can start work in a non-agricultural land. So he is not required to wait for a number of years. And here we have found that some industry have come only because of that that land has not become non-agricultural. The project is delayed for 4 years, 5 years, sometimes other years also. So to minimize this dispute, government is ultimately concerned with revenue. Once revenue is taken from the owner of the land, whose name is appearing as a owner, and he is in possession of that land, it should make it simple that NA order is passed. It will not harm anybody else. And if somebody is legally so strong for his case, then he can certainly get injunction against that. But normally, all people out of 100, let us assume from that 5 has some problem. Otherwise, all 95 has no problem for passing NA. So my suggestion is that it should be passed immediately.
Thank you, sir. Sir, there is one question, that why monitor meat can't buy agriculture land for the purpose of doing agriculture only in the Gujarat?
No, Talati is there. He always makes a report every year. What crop has been uh, plowed, whether there are trees in the land, uh, शाकभाजी का किया है, पेड़ है, पेड़ है तो कितने हैं, कुआं है तो कुआं कितना है, लैंड जो फार्मर फार्मिंग कर रहा है तो किस पानी से कर रहा है. So many detail is required to be register is required to be maintained by him. and therefore uh, it will not be creating any problem to the person. I think I have understood the problem.
Yes,
Uh,
sir.
Thank you so much, sir, for your wonderful session. Now, I would like to invite Hiranshi Shah, ma'am, founder of Sambhav Initiative and young member of Singapore International Arbitration Center, for vote of thanks. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Omid. First of all, sir, I express my deepest gratitude towards to you for this wonderful session and also for accepting our invitation. Sir, we are all privileged to be learn to from you, and also in that learning we can see your all experience of this 2 or 3 decades, I can say. So thank you so much, sir. So, on behalf of the institution, I extend my deepest gratitude towards to you. I also would like to thanks to my own patterning chief and patron of Sambhav Initiative, Justice C.K. Dakkar sir and Justice Emma Shah sir, former judges of Supreme Court of India, under whose vision today we are able to organize this 15 days online national capacity building program on land, real estate, and the property laws, and it's just about to be end in the next week. So thank you,
Thank
sir,
you.
and dignitaries, and also at the not list but very important, the all attendees whosoever join us in this program, from the professors, advocates, and the young law students and young advocates, and to join this session and make this capacity building program successful. Thank you, everyone. Once
Thank
again,
you. All the best to everybody.
thank you,
Bharat
sir.
Mata ki jai.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening ahead.
Bye.